What is going on, fight fans? So we got major news that Devin Haney is vacating his titles, all of them. He was a WBC champion in recess for the 135-pound division as he moved up to fight Regis Prograis, which that put the assumption, or that was designed under the assumption that he would have the ability to come back down to 135. Today or yesterday, he clearly indicated no plans to move back to 135. He's vacated all the titles, which also means that Tank Davis will be elevated to a legitimate champion. He's going from the WBA regular to the WBA super. And that is going to be interesting, right? You know, he could be mandated now to have a Shakur Stevenson fight, or mandated to have a fight with somebody if they put themselves in the number one contendership for his title. When he was moving around and with the regular belt, he was able to basically skirt by fighting whoever he wants. Now, unless he wants to lose the title, he would have to, uphold a lot of different mandatories, which could put him in a bad position, because I'm sure they're more focused on generating as much revenue and interest as possible than they are trying to hold the world title. This also legitimately makes Gervonta Tank Davis a two-time world or two-division world champion. But the interesting thing coming out of the article with Devin Haney dropping all of his belts is not even the fact that he's dropping all of his belts. I don't understand why that became the forefront of the talking points, or that became the talking point that was pushed to the forefront, because Devin Haney also stated that after this fight, not after a few fights, not after he gets a few more titles or tries to become undisputed at 140, he said after this fight, he will move up to 147 to try to become a 3-division world champion. That is mind-blowing, because first of all, a jump from 140 to 147 is much harder than 135 to 140 or 130 to 135, whatever. 135 to 140 is just 5 pounds. 140 to 147 is 7 pounds. And there's killers at 147 that are much, much bigger than him, which it brings into question, to me, in my opinion, how much was he suffering in terms of making weight at 135? And how much did that, lend to a lot of his performances where he was a little bit lackluster? Because if he's so ready to do a hop, skip, and a jump, touch 140, and then hop right into 147, it is possible he was struggling tremendously to make 135. So I commend him. Going to 147 after this fight is actually amazing. It is probably one of the most craziest weight jump narratives that I've seen, especially because he's going to be landing in the killer 147 division. Now, a few scenarios could play out as well. One, there is a champion there, Boots Ennis. He's the champion. He would have to fight either Boots Ennis, or if Terence Crawford decides to come back down to 147 after fighting Errol Spence, let's say he doesn't get a Canelo Alvarez fight. Let's say that's not on the tables for him, and he decides to stay at 147, or maybe he wants to go to 147 so he could jump multiple divisions to fight Canelo eventually. Then essentially the only 2 belt holders would be Terence Crawford with 3 belts, Boots Ennis with 1. Now, he wants to be a 3-division champion. There's no other path to victory. He has to fight one of those 2 guys. That is crazy. crazy. But he spoke with a lot of confidence, so we'll see what he does. His best case scenario is Terence Crawford moves out of the 147 division, and then there's a vacant title that he fights for. That's his best case scenario. Because if Terence Crawford holds on to those belts, it's going to be a very difficult path forward. But again, kudos to Devin Haney, all the props in the world. At this point, I don't expect to see him fight Shakur Stevenson, even though that's been lined up and prepared in terms of the narrative. I just don't see it, because moving to 147 is basically saying sayonara to that fight. It's too far away, especially for where Shakur Stevenson is now. All right, that is the news that dropped yesterday, as I was live, by the way, reacting to it live. But yeah, that is the news that dropped yesterday on Devin Haney. A big butterfly effect from this. Tank will now become champion. Devin Haney would probably have to fight a Boots Ennis or Terence Crawford, depending on what Terence Crawford does. And Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney fight, that's just not possible. But now Shakur Stevenson and Tank fight might be possible because of mandatories and things of that nature. But does Tank care enough about it where he'll vacate the belts? Who knows? Who knows? All right, until the next one, guys. This is Edward from Boxing Fanatico. Peace out.